Hey everyone, it's Nova Scotia Thomas again. Long time no see. About a few months ago, my old computer died, and on it was my login information for this YouTube channel. So it took me until literally less than an hour ago, I figured out how to get back in to this YouTube channel. So that's why I've not been uploading any videos or anything like that. But I do plan on keeping this YouTube channel. Um, I have actually made another YouTube channel that I'm going to plan on using to talk about more theology and history on a broader basis. But I do plan on keeping this YouTube channel for for talking about all things Nova Scotia related, or maybe even Atlantic Canada related. But yeah. So anyway, a few a few less I think a little about a week or two ago, I was able to take the first vacation as such that I've taken in 13 years. Now I've traveled before then, but it's been always been like day trips. If it was overnight, it was because someone was dying. Um, this was the first one I've taken since in the past 13 years, if I recall correctly. And it was kind of like a repeat of the last one, except for um, I saw the same sites as I did last time, 13 years ago, but yeah, I got to see some new things there. But I went to the same I went to the same place, Cape Breton. Yeah, the tippy tip northernmost part of the province. I did it, of course, didn't see everything there, but it's really my first time there traveling as such. It was really my first overnighter in quite a while. So anyway, we got 13 things here about Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, that part of Atlantic Canada, and that part of Nova Scotia that surprised me. Things I like, things I didn't like. Just 13 things about 13 things about Cape Breton that I, as a mainlander Nova Scotian, really struck me. Number one, Cape Breton feels like its own province. Now, technically, legally, Cape Breton is part of Nova Scotia. It has been for quite some time. That said, it has a very different. If you're if unless maybe if you travel a lot, but if you don't travel a lot, it has a very different feel from the rest of the province of rest of Nova Scotia. It's way more laid back, more so than on the mainland, and you get all the good and bad that comes with it. That comes with it. Um, it has its own culture. It has its own historic culture. Like the people up there the people in my part of Nova Scotia and rural Napas Valley were more English. We're English Canadian. Like we're descended from like planters and English speaking United Empire loyalists. While in Cape Breton, they're more descended from Scottish immigrants. More so. And at one point, Cape Breton literally was its own. I don't think no, not province, because but pre-Confederation, it was technically it's legally its own colony, British colony, separate from Nova Scotia. But at the time, anti-Catholic laws prohibited Catholics from and running for office in the British Empire, and there were so few non-Catholics in Cape Breton they did not have enough even to have a bare bones government there. So they joined them to us here in Nova on the joined us on so they're made to join us on the mainland. But it is part of Nova Scotia, but they do have but it is a unique culture there, um, and unique culture there. So number two, as I said, mostly Catholic, lots of Catholic stuff. Leading up to and in Cape Breton, we got a lot of Catholic things. Now, in my part of Nova Scotia has not been Catholic majority for about 400 years or something like that. 400 years since the Acadian expulsion. So not a, you have Catholic churches here, like every town over has or had all the major towns have or had a Catholic church, but it may be architecturally in some towns that dominated the culture. Dominated the scenery in some places, like say Kentville, Nova Scotia, the Catholic Church there, architecturally certainly dominates is probably the most imposing structure. That being said, culturally, it is very much Protestant. There are not a lot of Catholic pilgrimage sites in mainland Nova Scotia. And if you do see anything, it'd be like something that's like Acadian. It's like culture specific that that so culturally specific that you would not think of it as a you would not think of it as a as a pilgrimage site as such unless you were part of that ethnic background. So like the main thing here, pilgrimage site on mainland Nova Scotia that I'm aware of, would be would be the Grand Prairie National Historic Site, site of the Acadian expulsion. Great significance for the Acadians. Certainly, there are people buried there. Um, that being said, you see it more as a cultural thing. Even if you, I've been there, I prayed there, for people who work there, but I'm not Acadian. It's unless you're Acadian, it's not as spiritually significant. Cape Breton, on the other hand, and the places leading up to it. Leading up to Cape Breton, there's a shrine at a monastery, which I regret I was there. I wish I remember to take video footage, but you can just. This isn't even Cape Breton stuff, but just for you get there, a place called Monastery. There's a holy spring, like a Nova Scotian version of Lourdes. A monk had a tree follow him. He prayed to the Virgin Mary, and a spring appeared. Spring is still flowing, and the water is supposed to have healed him. You can still visit it. It's a nice, private, quiet place to pray. There's like the Holy Ghost Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, which you think would be just for Ukrainians. Anyone can go there and pray, but they also have a first class relic of a they have first class relic of a Catholic martyr there. Uh, yeah, like and also I'm not going to name the exact location because of security reasons. Because like the past few years, what's going in Canada, there've been a lot of churches that have been burned down. So I'm not going to name which church, but in rural Cape Breton, there was a Catholic there was a Catholic chapel that was available to the public that had a piece of Jesus's cross in it. Yeah, and it had a certificate of authenticity, which, by the way, those are your cynics about relics. Certificates of authenticity are not easy to get in the Catholic Church for public veneration. Actually heard atheists. I've actually even heard atheists call the Catholic Church the Church of the Skeptic. So there's a lot of Catholic stuff there, and even if you're not Catholic, there's a lot of like piece of Jesus cross. Yeah, I'd want to see that, even if it wasn't Catholic. Um, yeah. So that's basically numbers 2 and 3. Lots of Catholic stuff, lots of Catholic churches, and a piece of Jesus cross. So a bit of a revise. So this is skipping 2 and 3 onto number 4. Um, Lots of rural. They have stay in the rural areas. By stay, don't mean like don't visit Sydney. Uh, but if you're traveling on a budget, uh, don't let those motel prices in Sydney fool you. There's not as much to see in Sydney from what I found. I'm sure there is stuff there. Um, and there's a lot of things there are certainly things there. That being said, you think it would be central, but it's not. It's probably as much. I'll say this: in Sydney, we booked a hotel motel there. Me and my mother went up there. It was. I'm not singling out the motel because the people who worked there were very nice. That being said, uh, that being said, it was $117 a night in Sydney. Uh, and in Sydney, it was things were there through the roof. I've the hot water didn't work. The bathroom was not properly cleaned. There were cigarette butts on the floor. There was a June bug in the hotel room, and they messed up our hotel. And they were so unprofessional. They messed up our they messed up our booking for. We were supposed to stay 2 nights there. Instead, they only gave us 1 night. So they gave us their best room. The best room wasn't that great. I'm kind of glad we only stayed 1 night. So in the rural Annapolis Valley, like Digby Way, I was actually caught there. one time. Book a place for $90 a night. Uh, $90 a night in rural Nova Scotia goes a long way. Like it was like 4 star when I stayed in when I got stuck in Digby. A nice motel room. But with planning in advance, they still screwed it up. They about their best room that apparently wasn't available was not even clean. It was awful. Meanwhile, so we ended up staying at another hotel right across from the shrine. It was like that was $150. I know the price difference was major, but is a big thing. That being said, and that may have certainly had a role to play aboard. That being said, it was much nicer. Um, it wasn't. It was like $40 more, but yeah, like, and I'll also point out that something like this, but it was like a rural. It was, but in a rural area, it was a rural area. It was like easy to book on the go in an emergency. We had a big screen TV. It was like a fancy big walk-in bathroom, king size bed. It was really nice. Now I'll say this: I've been to Sydney twice when I was like a teenager, and now both times when I tried to book two different my family tried to book two different hotels, places to stay in Sydney. Both times, two different hotels, well over a decade apart. It was screwed up. It happened twice. It makes me now. I know things happen. I know like I was doing it on cheap, but I didn't have this happen in other places, in other places, and but like it's probably more my just but my personal. But however, I went outside of Sydney. Rural area is much more it was comparatively more. It was comparatively comparable in affordability, much higher quality. Um, so rural city divide. My advice: stay outside of Sydney. Drive in if you can, unless there's something you have to be like really early in the morning. You're afraid of oversleeping. It's worth it to stay in the rural areas of Cape Breton rather than in the city. That's my personal advice. If you're come from way traveling to Nova Scotia or to Cape Breton, that's my advice. In fact, all of Nova Scotia, stay in the rural areas. I just find that hotels, motels in rural areas are just nicer, easier to book, cheaper, etc., etc. Stay in rural areas if you can. Um, Number five, large First Nation presence in Cape Breton. So like two or three First Nation reservations there. I think maybe the largest in Canada, or at least the largest in Nova Scotia. It was like a community of. Forgive me if I say if you're First Nation and I'm saying it's largest in Canada. Please forgive me. I'm my stupidity. It's just the largest one I've seen in Nova Scotia. But Eskasoni First Nation, apparently I've heard of like 4,000 residents, and it looks and feels like one. Um, it was quite nice. Also, you have which I didn't get to see, Chapel Island, Potlotech. We didn't get to go through that through there, but there is a large First Nation presence in Cape Breton. Um, Cape Breton, and it's certainly it's I'll say this. Uh, it's not a touristy destination. It is someone's community. There were nice houses. There were cheap and poor houses. From what I could tell, I think we stopped off to get gas there at most, so I really can't say speak more to it other than it was a First Nation community and it was big. So if you're from Eskasoni and want to share something about Eskasoni or the First Nation communities in Cape Breton, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear from you. What is there to see in Eskasoni, good, bad, and ugly? Love to hear it. Um, um, okay, number six. Some bit of travel advice. It is very easy to get lost in Cape Breton. So you think of Cape Breton Islands, there's one big hulky island. There are a lot of bridges. No, like there are islands within islands within islands, literally. Uh, and it's like you can like the roads wind everywhere. So like if you make a wrong turn, you there probably isn't going to be. You'll be very lucky if there's like one road. Sometimes they have ferries across in like a small area, which you think is like no big deal until you realize the other way around is like 9 hours long, 9 hour long trip. It's it's very easy to get lost. The roads are very windy. Uh, there are islands within islands. It's probably the easy, in my opinion, easiest place to get lost in Nova Scotia. My personal opinion. Which I'll say this: I had to be lost somewhere. It is a very pretty place to be lost in, and like I don't honestly like. I'll say this: I did not at any time feel physically afraid. Maybe it's because I'm older, or maybe it's because I'm a grown man or something like that. But it's a nice place, but it is easy to get lost. Just bear just bear that in mind if you mind. So number seven. Okay, so I've heard so number seven. Road maps and signs in Cape Breton. Or should I say the lack thereof? I'm serious. If you go to Cape Breton, you have GPS, use GPS. Like I saw a lot of things because we didn't have don't have GPS, but we were able to see a lot of things because we took the map and took wrong turns, and it was well worth it. That being said, if you're one of those people who frustrates, just find getting lost in the middle of nowhere frustrating, use GPS. Because there were roads that were not mentioned on the map. There were there were roads were not mentioned on the map. There were places on the signpost that were not mentioned on the map. There are places mentioned on the map that did not have any signs indicating they were there. It was like I've heard that people in Cape Breton have been complaining about they're not getting their fair share of equalization payments because most of the equalization payments that come from Ottawa are spent in Halifax. Rural areas get very little to nothing of that money. And I will say this in Cape Breton, oh my gosh, they're getting they've been complaining about it for some time, and I will say this as a mainlander, yeah, they have every right to complain. Side it shows in the road signage. So Premier Houston or any MLAs anywhere, whether you're from Great Britain or not, um, sign postage. Put it in Cape Breton. They need it. They're getting the short end of the stick. They're not lying. They're not. They're not just complaining. Uh, yeah, but yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, so number eight. On a happier note, it is Cape Breton is small compared to Nova Scotia, but you will need more than 2 days. You'll need more than a weekend to see the whole thing. So I was there with my mother for like 2 days during the week. Uh, I was told that I've been told I can pack like a week worth of things in like a day. I just bam, 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 one thing after another. See it on the way. See it on the way back too. Again, and it's like, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff in Cape Breton to see, and lots of winding roads. Like we hardly saw anything comparatively speaking. Like there's the Alexander Graham Brown Museum, which we didn't get to see. Uh, I want to see the Cape Breton Highland Trail, but couldn't see it. There's like the Miners Museum. I was able to see Fortress Louisburg. Forgot to take video. Did take some nice pictures though. But but um but you will not see all of Cape. Forget all of Nova Scotia in one day. You're not going to see Cape Breton and all of Cape Breton in a week. Uh, maybe if you go bam 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 lightning speed, you can see all there is the nice things to see in Cape Breton in like a week. But you're gonna have to try really hard. It's but it is, but yeah, so there's a lot of things to see there. So definitely do so definitely chalk your itinerary full if you're there. Don't just stay in one place if you can. Okay, so some places definitely check out. Holy Ghost Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, small Ukrainian church in Whitney Pier, absolutely beautiful. Let's go inside. if you ever need to go someplace to go on a Sunday morning looking for church, I recommend going there. Um, there they, as I said, they have like this iconostas, the small community. It's like a small parish church, but it is quite lovely. I think it's the only Ukrainian Greek Catholic church east of Montreal in Canada. So something unique in Atlantic Canada, worth looking it up. Um, yeah, yeah. So number 11. So next, the hills, super scenic. We never even got to the Cabot Trail or into the provincial parks, and I was just looking up the hills the whole time like this. Here, I did take some pictures. I did take some pictures. I think of the hills. Uh, Here's one. It is not a very good picture. It does not do it justice one bit. Uh, but yeah, I was taking pictures all the time, or like this, like I was just we were just taking I was just taking pictures all the time where I could go. It's like, uh, but like these pictures do not do the hills of Cape Breton justice. And this is not that's not national park, by the way. Those are just hills. It's if I understand it's even nicer. If I understand the Cabot Trail is even nicer. Also check out the Brador Lakes, the Brador Lakes. Basically, it's a saltwater. Basically, it's a big lagoon from the Atlantic Ocean that comes in. That's basically fills up in the middle of Cape Breton. It's also kind of the reason why it's so easy to get turned around in all the winding roads because it has to deal with that. But it is like a unique UNESCO heritage site. It's recognized by UNESCO as a biosphere. Yeah, this is basically what it was like. I just had stopped on the side of the road, took some pictures. It was well worth it. Um, yeah, yeah. Also, another thing definitely was worth seeing if you're there, and it was the reason we went the last time to Cape Breton, but it was also why I went again. Is Fortress Louisburg, and I just checked. Yes, I did remember to take some pictures and photos of Fortress Louisburg. So anyway, Fortress Louisburg, it's was the last French hold on Atlantic Canada before it was taken over by the English. The site was discovered and it was built on the original foundations. It was built on the original it was built on the original foundations of the fortress. So when you go there, it's not like this is what it looked like elsewhere a few feet away. It was like no, the buildings are built on the original rebuilt on the original foundations as they would have looked. They have not rebuilt the whole place, and there are some areas that are this one here. Uh, these are the original foundations of like a small girls' convent school. It was like super small by what you think of convent today. It was like a house. But yeah, you can some of the places have not been rebuilt, and like over like a tenth of it has actually been rebuilt. I'm I'll show you some. I'll show you one. I'll try to show you one of the videos that I have that I arranged from inside. I don't want to spoil everything because I do plan on uploading at least these videos eventually. Please forgive me. I'm trying to learn how to do this. Yeah, like or like a much better one. This is like the inside of the rebuilt the barracks, if I recall correctly. Yeah, yeah, like it's. I do want to put these things in a. Yeah, it was definitely well worth it. Also, Cape Breton. As I said, different culture used to be its own province, has its own flag. Uh, it's gonna be like the it's gonna be like the banner pick for this YouTube video once I upload it. But yeah, so just thought I'd show you some other pictures. That was our hotel room, the nicer one. I didn't take pictures of the one I didn't really care for. Um, Here's a picture of the interior of the chapel. It has a piece of the cross of Jesus in it. For security reasons, I'm not going to name which one it was, but I will show you a picture, a very close-up picture of the relic. Apologize for the glare. It's like just a chip of stone from oak wood on the relic. Holy Cross of Jesus. I think that was like that was another place that those pictures taken from like a little restaurant at Lewisburg. We can have a little cafe, get something to eat there, buy lunch, so you know I didn't go hungry. When I was there. Here's a photo of the actual site I took of the Fortress of Lewisburg. Yeah, that was where's the chapel would have been, where the headquarters of the government of Lewisburg would have been. And this is what it would have looked like overlooking this. This is what it's like overlooking the reconstructed village. Yeah, like you talk about historic reconstructions, but like there's also other places there to go, like the Highland Village, which I've never seen. Uh, there's well, you will not be bored in Cape Breton. Like I remember hearing we tried to go earlier this past year. Apparently we couldn't find a place because apparently it was the most popular tourist destination on Earth, and it's like literally the most popular island destination in the entire world. So it literally beat up the Caribbean. So having been there, I can see why. Um, but yeah, anyway, so that was my trip to Cape Breton. Hope you liked it. Hope you like some of the pictures. I hope to upload some of the video I took, footage I took later this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed that I'm remembering um any that I remember to do it. But yeah, anyway, I'm back. Hope you liked the video, and if you have any suggestions for videos for me to do about Nova Scotia, either on location or just answering questions about Nova Scotia right here where I am in my room, I'm happy to do so. Anyway, stay safe, everyone.